How does a couple know that they're ready for marriage? Are there any hard conversations that you have to say before marriage? Like questions you need to bring up? Okay, this is a little controversial and you can't really answer this, but I just want to know your opinion. Hi, I'm Hannah and I'm a creative and curious person who loves asking questions about God, the Bible, and relationships.
And I'm James. I'm a pastor, counselor, and a university professor, and I love helping people find God's solutions to life's problems.
And this is Dad, I Have a Question. Okay, so today is video 4 in our relationship series.
Wow.
And this is all about engagement. So the engagement period. First question. How does a couple know that they're ready for marriage? So let's say a couple came up to you and they're like, what are some ways that I can know that we're ready for marriage, that we can know that?
Yeah, I think they really had to develop a friendship, that relationship. I think a lot of times people lead with their emotions rather than actually thinking through and getting to know someone. We're very impulsive. We're a quick society, especially Western society is very quick. And I think also in the Western society, especially social media society, I think people look and they see a deeper depth to relationships than they actually have. Somebody once said their relationships are like a mile wide, but only an inch deep. So I think you can find someone that you are attracted to physically. You can find somebody that you're attracted to emotionally, but that doesn't mean that you really know them. So a couple that comes together and they're saying that they want to get married, I hope that they've spent time getting to know each other, getting to know deep down thoughts and beliefs, and that they've taken time to pray about this situation together, and that they've actually thought about what marriage would look like and do they align with each other's vision of what marriage is.
Are there any hard conversations that you have to say before marriage? Like questions you need to bring up?
So once again, are you asking me as a counselor, pastor with a couple, or are you asking the questions that the couple themselves should be asking?
The couple themselves.
Yeah, I think the couple themselves should really be asking each other about, what is their definition of a marriage? I have a program called Elevate Marriage, and one of the first elements of it is to establish a biblical foundation for marriage. And so I think a lot of times people have developed a societal viewpoint of what marriage is, but I think I know that they need to go back to see what Scripture says about what marriage is. What is marriage? Because God is the one that established marriage. I think we've talked about that in other videos. What is the role of the husband in the marriage? What is the role of the wife in the marriage? What is the idea of family? What does it mean to be a godly father and a godly mother? All those things need to be talked about in great detail, and I think those are hard questions. I think that some questions from their past, I think they're hard questions, but they need to be talked about. A lot of times, though, family of origin doesn't determine the marriage. A number of times people will have viewpoints that they learned growing up in their home that is going to differ from what their fiance is believing.
Right, yeah.
And so I think those are hard questions. Areas of purity, I think, all those kind of things. I think there's deep questions that have to be talked about. And then there are certain things that are not. So there are absolutes, convictions, and preferences.
Okay.
Absolutes are biblical standards, godly standards that came right out of the Word, and those are true for any couple. Then there are convictions and preferences that are lower level. I've known couples, one person that wants to live in the city and one person that wants to live in the suburbs or a rural area. Those are questions that you have to kind of wrestle with, and you have to determine, because if you don't think about even those questions, you're going to create conflict moving forward.
Yeah.
I know some families that say that they only want to have a certain number of children. Some have said they don't want to have any children. Some say that they want to have, the mother or the wife stay at home with the kids. These are all questions that you really need to think through and talk about as you move forward.
Is there any like character issues that should be addressed before you get married? Like you're like, you should wait to get married if you're dealing with this or you have this issue,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, quite a lot. So one of the things I do with a premarital couple is I use an inventory. And in that inventory, it's not perfect, but what it does is it does give me a sense of their family of origin and how the impacts. It will talk about aspects of personality that are there for each person. It will talk to me about their communication, how they resolve conflict, their viewpoint on sexuality, their viewpoint on parenting, their viewpoint on roles and responsibilities, spiritual life. And so it gives me a pretty good idea of elements that are there. So some couples take that inventory and they have some pretty low scores on certain areas. Now, that doesn't mean that they're incompatible, that they can't get married. What it does mean is that you really need to look at these areas first before you get married. I think there's this viewpoint that if a circumstance changes, then I will change.
Yeah, people are like, oh, I just need to get married,
Right.
and then everything will work out. Like
Right.
everything will fix itself.
Correct. Or we just need to have a child and everything will fix itself. And those situations actually may create more tension and more stress in
Right.
your life. So it is always better to make sure that you are dealing with those personal areas first before you move forward. Now, no couple's going to move forward to engagement and marriage with no issues in their lives. But we talk about in biblical counseling this idea of life dominating patterns. So if this is a pattern that's in this person's life and it has been dominating their lives, habitual in their lives, then they really need to be dealing with those areas because those areas are only going to intensify as they get married.
Right. And would you say like something like people who struggle with commitment issues, you'd be a little bit more wary and be like, is there
Clearly.
like certain issues
Well, I don't know if
specific, would you say?
I don't know if I would say, because over 30 years of doing this, there have been a ton of issues, but commitment is one. And if they-
Communication, maybe.
Well, communicate, yeah, as we were listening before, communication, resolving conflict, sexual issues, finances, views on roles. But commitment would be significant. But more often than not, what I have found is that the person who struggles with commitment is probably not going to follow through on marriage anyway. So they may get engaged, but then they're going to end up breaking up anyway. So,
Right. Yeah.
so I don't see that as much. I'll see an out of balance that I believe the Bible, the way I read the scriptures, the man is supposed to be the provider in the home. That doesn't mean that the woman can't work and provide, work and have their own in job and what's the phrase? Their own career. But I am a little concerned in our society where it has become inverted, where you have a woman who is very strong in her career and she is dating a man who doesn't know what he wants to do with his career, and they're really relying on her resources and her career to move forward. That would be an area of significant concern. And long term, they have to try to figure out how they're going to correct that. Now, there may be a time where the woman is still making more because of just her degree or her area of expertise. But if the goal is going to be to find a biblical standard, they need to try to figure out how to balance that out and try to communicate about that.
Is there a way to prepare for conflict before it happens? Like to,
Sure.
okay. I wasn't sure if that made sense.
Yeah, prepare for conflict before it happens. One of the
Well, you do resolving conflicts.
I
You should
do.
know all about that.
I guess I should. Yeah, I do think and we've talked about this on the platform before. I use a program called Peacemaking, Biblical Peacemaking. Ken Sande is one who has a series of resources, Resolving Everyday Conflict, The Peacemaker. I've used those for many years. And that is after there's a conflict. How do you follow biblical standards? How do you follow biblical principles to deal with conflict? There's also a huge benefit in getting to know yourself better before. And so we use this platform, this idea of relational wisdom, created by Ken Sande as well. And it's a sense of a person becoming aware of themselves, learning to become more aware of others, and greater than that, understanding God and aware of God. And we talk about these 6 skills that they need to have. We call it God awareness and God engagement. They need to know who God is, and then they need to know how to turn to God consistently.
Right.
Self-awareness and self-engagement. They need to understand themselves and then also be able to engage themselves. And then finally, other awareness and other engagement, where we need to understand other people and then engage other people. And as you do that, we teach people how to remember God in the midst of the situations. We have a tendency to forget him, and we remember him after the conflict or after the thing is over.
Right.
And learning to become habitual at remembering him and then engaging him, faithfully calling out to him through his word, through prayer, making sure that he's the center. The self-awareness and self-engagement, it leads to humility rather than pride. I recognize that in my relationships, I look and I say that I am the worst in the relationship. What did I bring to this relationship that I could improve on? And so instead of thinking about what they need to change, I try to think about what I need to change, and that's self-awareness. And self-engagement is where we are calling ourselves, trying to master ourselves, trying to control ourselves. And that's where Scripture tells us to be a person of self-control. And then other awareness, other engagement gets into compassion and sensitivity, and then learning to serve other people. I think those are incredible skills that a person can learn. I think that if you learn those skills and you learn the areas where you're more easily tempted, you learn where you struggle in a particular area, what it does is open the door for knowing that, okay, I'm not great as we get later at night. I'm tired, and so my patience level is not as much as I get later at night. Much better if I were to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning than at 11 o'clock at night.
Not me.
Not you, yeah. And so this is just different personalities. And so now if I were to engage you, it would not be at 5 o'clock in the morning, but if you were going to engage me, it wouldn't be at 11 o'clock at night. That's where the other self-awareness and other awareness comes in. So those would be things that I think that when people learn those skills before, and we help them to understand themselves, understand those skills, understand what God calls them to do, then it prepares them for the conflicts that will come.
Good. Yeah.
So.
Okay, this is a little controversial, and you can't really answer this, but I just want to know your opinion. Is there like a length to engagement? Because I've heard like there's some people who get engaged like super fast, and after dating, and
Is there a length to engagement?
like before you get
it's a little.
engaged. Like,
So it's a
would
little
you
bit different.
advise
I guess the question is, are you asking how soon you should get
Right, I
engaged, or are
realize.
you saying,
How soon should you be engaged?
I think soon enough that you know the person well enough, and you know yourself well enough, and you know that this is what God is calling for you. And that's going to be different for a number of different people. I think that super quick, weeks, few months, that's really quick. I think I've used it before. I've had friends that have said they can hold it together for a period of time. And so they can hold it together for weeks, they can hold it together for months, but you really get to know a person over time. So I do think that it should take some time, but it's hard to give a number. I think it depends on each couple.
I know. Yeah.
And so
And how long they've known each other, like before they start dating.
Correct. I mean, if they were going to church with each other or they knew each other in school and they've known each other for as distant acquaintances, and now they've developed a friendship, and now it's gotten into a more connected relationship, that may be a little bit shorter than somebody that you meet on the internet, and it may be. Because anybody could put a great profile up there. It takes time to actually get to know the person.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then the length of the engagement, I would say that you need to be very careful not to make the engagement too long. Because once you now have programmed in your head that you're marrying this person, and then you start thinking about all the things that married couples will do together, I do think it's an open door for a temptation if you wait too long. You may blur the purity lines or other lines. So it should not be too quick in seeking to get engaged. And it should not be too long in the engagement itself. And you got to remember that you're making a lifelong commitment. And I think that's the other thing. People think of marriage as more contractual today than they think of it as covenantal.
Yeah.
So contract, if it doesn't work out, I can always leave them and go. And the Bible seems to give two criteria that would open the door for potential divorce: abandonment and adultery. But it doesn't mandate it. And so I just want people to know that when you're making this commitment, you should be making this commitment with the aim that this person is going to be the person that you will marry, as we would say in a wedding service, oftentimes, till death do you part. So,
Yeah. All right. Dad, let's talk.
okay.
Your favorite segment.
My favorite segment, yes.
We're doing, is this a Bible verse or is this a song lyric?
Okay.
Okay. Your voice thunders from the heavens, breaking through the desert. This is just a quiz I found. So I'm not promoting any songs or anything. If there
Your voice, say again.
Your voice thunders from the heavens, breaking through this desert. I think I said it wrong.
That's a lyric, I would assume.
Yes.
Okay.
I thank my God every time I think of you.
That's Paul, yes.
Good job. Do you know where?
That is Philippians chapter 1 or 2.
Yeah. 1:3. Good job. All right. Your voice is warm and tender, a love I cannot forsake.
I would assume that's a lyric. It could be a song of song, but I think it's a lyric.
Yeah. It's Celine Dion. Song by Celine.
Okay.
All right. Last one. I am my beloved and my beloved is mine.
I am my beloved and my beloved is mine.
Beloveds.
Beloveds.
Probably should be beloveds. I am my beloveds, right? Or
I am
beloved?
I am my beloved's.
Yeah.
And my beloved's is mine.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know either. So I'm going to say.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Oh. Oh, then I just gave it away.
You did. It's a scripture, and it
Can
is
you
Song of
guess?
Songs.
Song of Solomon 2:16.
Oh, Song of Songs or Song of Solomon, yes. There's a
Doesn't
way.
matter.
Yeah, actually, I just read through that in my Bible reading just a couple weeks ago.
You should know that then.
Yeah, it came to my mind.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
There we
Sorry,
go.
I'm just joking.
Yeah,
I'm
you
teasing you.
busted my chops. I cannot believe this kid.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave down below if you guys have any questions or thoughts about this episode or questions for future episodes. We're going to do the last episode of the relationship series, and that is on marriage.
On marriage. Okay.
Yes. That's it.
That's it?
Please follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. You can please subscribe and like this video if you liked it. And and follow us on our podcast, even though sometimes podcasts have no sound to them, apparently. Abby watched a podcast and had no sound.
No sound.
Yeah.
Oh,
feel bad.
Well, watch on the
feel bad.
podcast. We'll get it fixed.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
We'll fix it. And once again, thank you so much for being with us. We couldn't do this if it weren't for people like you watching us. So we look forward to seeing you next time. Be blessed.
Bye.
Bye.